So, let's use some inertia and get this started. So, before we actually get this completely started, I have a question. And you guys can answer it if you want, but knowing how quirks work in My Hero, what would your perfect quirk be? For you, at least. For me, mine would be called inertia. And I gave Alex inertia in my What If Deku was Monsters from Evolve. That's my perfect quirk. And my real name in real life, I'm not telling you my last name, but my real name is Alex. So it's kind of like I'm in the story. But the downside to her quirk, to his or her quirk, and I don't want a downside to my version of a perfect quirk, but the downside is that they have the curse of Loki. If anybody has read the book Magnus Chase, you know the character Alex, or Alexis at times. But back onto the story. If I remember correctly, we were in... Hold on. If I remember correctly, we were at the sports festival. We're getting ready for it. Hold on, I'll check. Okay, so I just checked, and no, we are not at the sports festival yet. We are currently at the break slash meltdown of Nezuko at the USJ. Because she's just done what she never wanted to do, is kill. But she was in a seeing red moment where all she could do was be angry. So, when the cops got there, they saw the dead body of a well-known serial killer, and they didn't ask questions. And then they saw the mangled body of a monster-looking thing and started asking questions about the monster. Not the dead body of Jack the Killer. Or Jeff the Killer. Jeff. Same damn thing. I'm sorry, the Walter came out. But, yeah, Walter from Jeff Dunham. I freaking love him. But, they asked questions of how did this creature, because all they see is the bird face and the torso, become like this. And Aizawa says, one of the students lost control, and I shall take full responsibility. And Nezuko is still breaking down, and, well, she's passed out, but she's still mentally breaking down. And we skip 2 days, and Nezuko still hasn't woken up. So Tanjiro's getting worried. So he's been staying with Nezuko the entire time. And a week later, Nezuko finally wakes up. And she's completely rejuvenated in energy. And everything's fine. And everybody's confused. She hasn't eaten for a week and a half. But she looks like she just came out. She just woke up from a power nap. Everybody's like, what the hell's going on? Aizawa walks in and says, okay, now that she's awake, she can join class. And he put a bowl of food in front of her, and she said, no, I'm not hungry. His eyes widen, realizing that her quirk might have evolved. So he said, after we're done with class, I'm taking you to the quirk doctor to see what your new evolution is. So he skipped to the end of the day, He gets in the car, Nezuko gets in the car and starts sleeping. And he sees this and smiles because she's still in the 4-year-old state. The 4-year-old looking Nezuko. And they get to the Quirk doctor and he has to wake up Nezuko, and Nezuko slowly wakes up and opens her eyes and says she's just tired. So Nezuko, who's now changed into her 12-year-old state, walks in and starts sleeping again. And the Quirk doctor asks, has this been happening to her a lot? And Aizawa says, she's been asleep for a week, and when I tried to give her food, she completely ignored it. When I tried to give her water, she completely ignored it. And the doctor was like, okay, that's strange. Let me check. So after he's done checking, he calls in a doctor who has a specific quirk that is very powerful for being a first form. But it only does one specific thing, and that's tell people what the base attributes of the quirk are. Like, what are the base names of the abilities? And hold on. I forgot the name of her ability. Power restoration. So I'm just gonna say that it's called sleep rejuvenation. And he says sleep rejuvenation, and the doctor understands immediately. Oh, the longer she sleeps, the more rejuvenated she feels. And Aizawa goes, okay, that makes sense. So he picks Nezuko up without waking her, puts her in the car, and drives her back to UA. And when he gets to UA, he picks her up, takes her to her room, lays her down, and walks out of the room, locks the door behind him. And this is his room, by the way. He put her in his room. Because he can't fit in that small doorway. So, an hour later, Nezuko wakes up and walks out of Aizawa's room and says thank you to Aizawa. And he's completely confused why. He hears thank you from Nezuko, who just walked out of his room. Then he turns around and sees a 18-year-old version of Nezuko, and he's like, oh, she probably put together. He says, you're welcome, and you can sleep whenever you want, because that's part of your quirk. And she goes, I just need to sleep every once in a while. And he goes, lucky. And she starts to laugh, because she knows the upsides and downsides of Aizawa's quirk, because he's told her. Sorry, I just had a milkshake. I just finished it. But Aizawa said lucky, and she starts laughing and says, you know, who's lucky is you. Because you can do what you want. I can't. He goes, I can do what I want, but I still have rules to follow. And she goes, true. But you have a lot less rules than I do. He also goes, true. I go to bed. It's late. She goes, it's 6 o'clock. He goes, yeah, it's late. He walks into his room, locks the door, and quickly goes into caterpillar mode. So she walks up to her room, shrinks down to a 4-year-old, walks in, and closes the door, locks it, and goes into caterpillar mode. Currently, Tanjiro's in his room, wondering when is she going to wake up and what her new ability for a quirk is, wondering if she's going to be okay. And the next day when they go to class, she's in her sleeping bag at the table already, sleeping. And Tanjiro walks over, is about to try to wake her up, and Aizawa goes, "Don't, that's part of her quirk." Tanjiro goes, "What do you mean, part of her quirk?" He goes, "The more she sleeps, the more rejuvenated she feels. So if we stab her while she's awake, she just passes out and she heals." And everybody's like, "Damn, that's overpowered." And Aizawa goes, "Yeah, could fix my dry eye." And everybody looks at him and goes, "Really? You're thinking of your dry eyes when she lost like 50% of her body mass in that fight?" He goes, "True, true. But she healed it all." He goes, "Yeah, true. But still." So a few months go by, and it's the teachers versus students, and it's Nezu and All Might versus Nezuko. Everybody asks, "Isn't that too much? The smartest person at school and the number one hero?" And Nezu and All Might both say, "Nah." And everybody's shocked at what Nezu said, saying it's not too much, it's just right for her skills and skill set. Then Nezu chimes in again and says, "She's the smartest person in that class, and she's the strongest out of everybody in school. She's 12. Well, she's actually 13 now, but she's 13, and she's stronger than All Might. We really should be getting all the teachers in school to do this." But the hard counter to her is Aizawa. So she walks in her hero costume into the training area. It's gonna be the same city that Deku, Bakugo, and All Might fought in for their test. And I know I'm doing this a little out of order, but there's a reason for the out of order. And she walks up to All Might before it even starts, entering early, and says, "All Might, I have a proposition for you. You retire as a symbol of peace if I beat you in this and knock you out successfully and capture you. You retire as a symbol of peace, and I don't reveal the conversation we had." And his eyes widen, thinking, "What do you mean conversation? I don't remember us having a conversation." And she goes, "BS. We both talked about a few things in the teacher's lounge. And I'm willing to reveal that conversation on the internet." And he goes, "Fine. If, and that's a big if, you can knock me and Nezu out and capture us both successfully, I will retire as the symbol of peace." And the teachers and students both heard that and were shocked. And the students asked, "Wait, why would he retire as a symbol of peace? Doesn't he have a long life ahead of him? And the teachers say, we can't answer that question because it's his personal life. And they're avoiding the question. There's something going on. So, like how Toph did to All Might, she completely bodies All Might. She completely bodies All Might, and All Might's knocked out. So she takes the extra strength cuffs, quirk canceling cuffs, which are supposed to be on Nezu, extra strength quirk canceling cuffs, and puts them on All Might. So All Might immediately shrinks to Small Might, or the soggy French fry. I'm sorry, I always see a soggy French fry whenever I look at it. Thanks, Bakugo, for putting that image in my mind. and now, what was it? Yeah, she completely bodied All Might, and Nezu is still running around the town like a little mice rat thing he is, and scurrying around and placing like little traps that she could see and avoid, but it's really hard to. So she gets caught in a few traps, and so she's about to pass out and lose. Then she activates her demon form, because she's been doing everything in her 18-year-old form with the super enhanced strength. And everybody saw that she could body All Might without her demon form. So her demon form with extra resilience catches up to Nezu, who's still placing traps all around, and she quickly catches him and puts him in cuffs. And Ectoplasm, who was spectating to call the match, says Nezuko Aizawa wins. And Aizawa, who was currently in his match with Todoroki and Momo, hears that and gets distracted. And starts cheering for Nezuko. So fuck, I'm tired. He starts cheering for Nezuko, and Todoroki and Momo, who started to get closer to each other, because of the... Or did I already do the sports festival? I don't remember if I did the sports festival. I think I already did. Maybe I didn't. I'll look after this, because this is going to be the last thing of the video. Because I need a nap. Or I might do a different video. Maybe a slower video that I could just laugh to. But Aizawa keeps cheering on Nezuko, and Momo and Todoroki go on the offensive. And he was ready for this, so Momo and Todoroki get absolutely bodied. by Aizawa. But Todoroki somehow regains consciousness right before Aizawa puts capture tape on Momo and breaks out of capture tape. So he's still in. So he runs off and he waits for a good opportunity to get Momo out of there. So he can take the capture tape off of her and win with her instead of win. But then Ectoplasm calls the time and says that Momo and Todoroki have lost. And the rest of them go to as canon. Except for Ochako and Aoyama. Aoyama does not ask Ochako about her having a crush on Izuku, because there is no Izuku. There's a Nezuko. Instead, Ochako has a crush on Bakugo. But Aoyama asks if it's a crush on one of the swordmen in class, and she goes, "No. Why would you think that?" Thinking of Bakugo and starting to blush a little because she doesn't know if he's a swordsman or not. And I'm saying no, he is not in this one. Well, after everybody meets up at the dorms, and Aizawa tells them they're going to a training camp over the break. Nezuko and Zenitsu, and a late introduction into the class, Inosuke, and oh my god, I was saying his name earlier. God damn it. Please hate on me in the comments for that. I forgot his name. The guy with the scar and not Joichiro. Tanjiro. And Tanjiro all start yelling yay and in a happy voice. Inosuke's blades do not look like in the anime. They look like Stain's blades, all chipped and broken and can easily rip through flesh to draw blood. And beast breathing requires him to draw blood each swing, or he goes feral. That's the downside of his beast breathing. So, I'm going to end it here. I may redo this part. Maybe. Depends on if I like it or not. Yes, I rewatch all my videos right after they're done posting. Please don't judge. But I may. Hopefully you guys see you next time. Bye! Oh my god, I'm tired. You guys should take a nap. You guys should take a nap with me in the background. Bye!